Okay. Available in the past only had a capability of 50 watts. So even you put this 80 watt soldering iron to the stations, and let me go over. So I still have it here in my setup. So the WECP20, right? So that were the stations which were available in the past. I don't know, it is already, I don't know, 20 years ago when I purchased these stations, I don't know. So at that time we was only able to get this 50 watt stations. So nowadays it is of course different, but back then I believe that was the most advanced stations to my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was really a problem to get a higher capable soldering station. So therefore, you know, I had an 80 watt soldering iron, but it was always connected to a 50 watt station, and you know, you never had the full capability of the soldering iron present at your tip. And you know, today it is really difficult with all the heat sinks we have to handle. If you have ever soldered on an iPhone, for instance, and you think, hey, that is only a little PCB, so that is all no problem, well, you might have, if you have worked on it, experienced something different. So even the iPhones have a very, very good heatsink system, and if you go down with your soldering iron to a PCB of an iPhone, you will be really surprised, because even this little PCB can really suck all your temperature out of your soldering iron, and the station might not able to deliver enough power to overcome this heat sink problems. So therefore this base station here will solve the problem, as you are able to connect to this base station the optional available soldering irons with 120 watt, and then you really have enough power to overcome all these issues. But well, if you are using this iron here, you really are able to handle most of the jobs you have to do in the radio business, or even on the cell phone business. So no problem with this iron. So that is the first advantage. The second advantage is that, as I already told you, it is so easy, right, to change your tip. And that is, from my point of view, really an easy way. So you only press here this both triggers, and then you pull your whole tip out of the holder itself, and then you may have already seen it. You have here this holder with all the different tips, and you may use here the tip you need for your next job, and you simply click it in, right, and it is ready to go. And if you need to change it once again, so it is again the same step, right? And even, you know, it is hot, you can place it back here to the stand, and you simply use here your next tip, and you do exactly the same, and it is done. So that is really an advantage, and that really helps, because now it is no pain anymore to change your tip. And I mean, you see, for all the different work you may use different tips, and you see this is really a needle which is needed sometimes, and even this one here is already a very fine tip to do all the SMD work. And of course we have all the other tips. This I use for, as I already told you, with the old Weller one. I use it for drag soldering, and to clean off pads I use this here. Alright, so it is really so easy, and I use this one, or I have it in a little, where is it? I don't see it right now. Anyways, so this one here I use to pull this kind of transistors. So these are the known final transistors in our radio, and it is easy to go with a tip like this here underneath, right, and to bend it up a little bit to finally desolder it. And you see, with all the different tips, it is really so easy to do your job. And even, I mean, you see, I have here 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 of this. How do you call it? Holders, or I don't know. And even if I need one of this here, where which is not in one of these holders, I don't know. Even this one is hot, but here this part is not hot, so you can touch it, and now you can push it through, okay? And now this is not hot, all right? So you can take it out, put it away, and you can easily put here the one you need into it, and put it back here into your iron, right? So that is really so easy, and it is really so convenient. But you know, additional to that, there is another issue. I mean, these tips have or has their heating element right here in the tip, and not only the heating element, as well, you know, your temperature control is in the tip. So that means the modern stations can much easier hold the required temperature, even if there is a huge heatsink to overcome, right? So therefore, this is the second huge advantage compared to the older systems. And well, the third one is this station has this automatic switch off. So you already see these stands here are connected with the station, and when I take here my soldering iron out of the stand, then the soldering iron becomes live again. Alright, you may ask, what is that good for? And I can tell you, when you are working in the lab, you are soldering, you are testing, you are measuring, whatever, you simply forget sometimes of your iron, and that means it is burning and running on high temperature, and that finally will destroy your tip. And I mean, tips are always not very cheap, so you are really happy if your system is helping you to maintain your tip as long as possible. I mean, still, if you see here my tips, you see that there is always a lot of solder on, and that is simply to the fact, you can see it here, I have always a lot of solder, and that is simply because if there is solder